Hello friends of the Electrified Charging Fun and welcome to Electrified Speicher, your channel all around Škoda's e-mobility. My name is Matthias and I would warmly welcome you to the first episode of my series How to Škoda EV. Because with the rise of the EVs we see a lot of new entries into that mobility. Maybe you're just starting out with electric mobility, maybe you're switching over from another brand, maybe both. So now is the time to do entry-level videos about having fun with such a car. This episode is just simply start driving and have fun. And I will talk about what, from my perspective, is essential to know. Not every nitty-gritty detail. You will find a lot of videos on every detail you might ever want to know on my channel. Everyone starts different when he has a new car. May it be that you simply hit the road and want to drive. Others first configure every little detail, and the next one gets all the explanations, reads all the manuals before starting the car. No matter how you start, you will find a lot of information in this series around How to Škoda EV. And this series is from a perspective, how would I start if I could start again with Škoda EVs, but I can't because I'm driving them since the ENYAQ hits the market. I drove my first ENYAQ in June 2021 and since then I did over 200 videos on this car. I have a direct contact to the manufacturer and therefore I think I'm at least a bit qualified to talk about how to start with such a car. And now enough of chat, let's start driving. So, what are you waiting for? Just hop into your car, adjust your seats, and it doesn't matter whether it is a basic thing like this one I got here, or you've got the electric version to adjust your seat, just put it in the right position. Now let's talk quickly about the electric seats like this one here. Of course you can simply enter the car and activate your user profile and the seat will go into the correct position. But what if you don't wait for it and even easy entry hasn't moved the seat enough backwards so that you can enter? Well, you can make use of these buttons here. And if you're not already in the car, a simple push on the button will bring the seat in the correct position without the need to have the finger on it. But if you're already in the car and the car is activated, a single push won't do it. Then you have to keep your finger on the button so the seat will adjust itself. Then adjust the steering wheel how you like it to drive and you're already good to go. If your infotainment is still in the condition I'm currently showing, well, doesn't matter. Hit online, hit agree, and you can start out as guest in your car. But your dealer should already had registered you in a car and in your My Škoda app so that you are the main user. If you've got a head-up display, well, you should set that up before driving so that you can see it quite well. If you're now sitting in the car and you have a head-up display, you should do a quick setup. So go to the icon of the car up here, go to the vehicle menu, hit vehicle, interior, head-up display, position. And with those 4 arrows, you can set the head-up display in front of you to the position you need, up and down, and to tilt it that it is perfectly in the line of sight when you're driving the car. If you don't have one, like this car here, then you are now nearly already good to go. So you're now sitting in your car and the little cockpit display is partly activated. The main display also welcomes your user already. You can say OK here and there you go. And even if you have, the head-up display is also lighted up. But how to start this electric car? Because your drive mode here is still not activated. There is no light on it. Well, of course you could simply press this button here like you know from your combustion engine car, but in an electric car there's no motor to turn on. You only need to activate the high voltage battery that it closed the circuit. And how can you do that? Well, you could press the button, but instead I would recommend you just put your foot on the brake pedal. And as you can see, now the cockpit display is fully lit up, the main display is still active, and we've got a light here on the gear selector. And if you now push it, for example, down to D, now you're ready to go. It tells me that I did not fasten my seatbelt, and now I could drive. But what if you want to shut down the car? Well, of course, again, you can press that button, but you don't have to. Simply activate the electric park brake, even if a gear is selected, you see the gear has gone, and now you get the goodbye screen, and you could simply exit the car like this. This is the big advantage of electric cars. Since there is no motor running, you do not need to shut off any motor. You can simply activate the electric park brake and the gear will be deselected and you can exit. So the easy way to activate the car, press the brake pedal, and to deactivate it and get out of it, simply activate the electric brake. And now you're good to go to drive. But I didn't explain the gear selector or the main switch to you. So I will do this during driving because it's most self-explanatory. Rear is R, so the driving backwards. And of course, the rear camera will activate itself. N is neutral, and D and B are drive modes. I will explain drive and brake later. And with this gear selector, you can also jump over N. Simply press it a bit harder and you will directly jump to the reverse, and a bit harder you go to D and to B. And if you push it gently, you can go to N as well. By the way, your Škoda electric car will memorize the choice you do here, D or B. See here, I go to R and it's in B again. Press it again, you go to D. And you see, it doesn't switch through. It will always keep your last selection active. I just talked about driving modes D and B, yet there is a mode selection button down here. And if you press it, you get even more driving modes. Let me make that a bit bigger. And these are the real driving modes depending on whether you have a rear wheel or all-wheel drive car and whether you have a DCC or not. This is the selection you get with DCC and all-wheel drive. If you do not have all-wheel drive, you do not have traction. Traction activates a permanent all-wheel drive up to 20 kilometers an hour. And comfort is only available if you have the DCC, so you have a more comfy suspension. Eco, Sport and Individual is always available. Sport, as the name says, makes everything a bit more sporty, and Eco tries to save on energy. You have a bit more lazy acceleration than normal, and you can only drive up to 130 kilometers an hour unless you do a kickdown, and AC is also a bit reduced. And Individual, there you can set whatever you like depending on your equipment, so you have your own custom selection. Your car will always start in normal whenever you turn it on. You have always to switch to the mode you like. It will not save the mode you're in. And I would just say try it out and find the mode you like the most for driving. I switch to drive mode B, and as you can see, I'm not driving, even though I do not have my foot on the brake pedal nor on the driving pedal, because your car is equipped with auto hold, and you can see it here on the front display, and this holds your car in place instead of driving, and the ready down there says you're now good to go. So, well, let's head for a drive, hit that drive pedal, and there you go. And maybe you are a bit overwhelmed by the acceleration of the car because it's an electric car and that has plenty of power. And if you now take the foot off the drive pedal, you will have what you expect, just rolling or gliding, just like you know from your combustion engine car. And if you feel a slight brake here, this has to do with the blue A in the display. I'll explain in a second. But everything will change when you now switch to B. You can do it while you're driving. And as long as you're on the acceleration or drive pedal, everything is the same. But if you take your foot off, the car will immediately start to brake. And the more you release your foot from the drive pedal, the heavier the brake is. This is what we call one pedal driving when it comes to e-mobility. So you can drive more or less with one pedal. You can step on it again to accelerate, and you can brake when you take your foot off or take the pressure away. And if you need more brake power, just hit the brake pedal and you will brake even more. And talking about the brake pedal, let's switch back to D. If you want to brake in mode D, you put your foot on the brake pedal, and the ENYAQ always decides for itself whether it will brake with the mechanical brakes, which it merely does never, or if it brakes with the regeneration. So more or less you will always have first regeneration and then mechanical brake applied, while mechanical brake is applied very few times. So the car will always decide for you. You don't have to worry about this. Just brake as you like. Now let's talk about that little A there in front, this blue one. This is the automatic regeneration assistant, or in short, eco assist. Therefore it is blue because it has to do with regeneration. And if this little fella is active, the car will, in drive mode D, react to bends and roundabouts and speed limit and automatically regenerate. You do not have this option, however, in mode B, because you do everything on your own with the drive pedal. This option is only available in D. And if you do not want to have this option, you can switch here to the assistant systems and deactivate the Eco Assist, and you see the blue A is gone. Now let's activate it again and hit the road to see what will happen, because depending on your equipment you might have these two pedals here. These are not for switching gears in the gearbox, because the ENYAQ has a 1-gear automatic gearbox. These are the regeneration pedals. With this in drive mode D and only in D, not in drive mode B, you can use regeneration by using these pedals. With the left one you increase recuperation up to 3 levels, and with the right one you decrease it again. And what this will do and how this works, well, we'll see now on the road. So let's start driving here, and as soon as I accelerate and when I try to use them I can't, because my foot's still on the drive pedal and it simply makes no sense. If I take the foot off, and there you go, it is regenerating in level 1, I can go to level 2 and 3, and it will increase step by step. As soon as I hit the drive pedal, you see it's back in automatic mode. Of course I can go to the level 1 and hit the brake pedal as well if I need more regeneration. This all works perfectly fine, and so you don't have to worry about a lot here, but you can use it for recuperation or regeneration if you like. But everything changes as soon as you go to the assistant systems and you deactivate the Eco Assist here. And now you get a totally different behavior, which is close to one-pedal driving. Let me show you. The A, you see the blue A is gone. I accelerate, and when I now tip on regeneration, you see I'm in level 1, yet if I accelerate again it keeps level 1 forever, and it does the same with level 2 or level 3. And if you're on level 3 and you take the foot off the driving pedal, or 2 or 1, level doesn't matter, you get immediately a regeneration. So now you have drive mode D with one pedal driving, and of course you can decrease it again. So if you ever want to use one pedal driving in mode D, this is the way to go. Of course you can still step on the brake to get even more regeneration, but I would recommend you going with mode D with the Eco Assist activated. While I was showing you what mode D and B is doing, you might notice this bar there in the middle, which is blue on the one side and green on the other, currently dark blue and dark green. And this is something you do not know from your combustion engine car, because it would not work there. This bar indicates how much power from the battery is given to the electric engines, that is the green bar, and how much power is given back to the battery when you're regenerating and turning motion into electric energy. This is the blue bar. When they are dark, like now, they are showing you the maximum which is currently available. Here you don't see any restrictions, so maximum power in both directions is available. But it could be cut off a bit, then the edges of those bars are getting gray. For example, if the battery is rather cold, maybe the power toward the engine is a bit lower. Or if you charge to 100%, then the blue bar will have a slightly gray part of it which is the restriction to the energy. And the current power given to the electric engines or the regeneration is shown in bright green or in bright blue. Maybe you ask yourself, do I have to be careful on the first couple of 100 kilometers with my EV like I was with my combustion engine car? Do I have to watch for something? And not in the classic sense of its way, because the electric motor does not need that. Also, your one-gear drive gearbox does not need that, and the battery don't need that as well. It is monitored by the battery management system, so you can't put too much load on it. And since it is more often charged to 100% at your dealership, you don't have to worry about your first charging. So in that sense of a way, no, you don't have to watch for anything at the beginning. Yet if it comes to the tires and the brakes, it's the same as with the combustion engine. First, those tires need to drive a bit to get the right grip. And with the brakes, there is a speciality that you have a lot of regenerative braking, so you don't use them, even at the beginning of the driving. Therefore, if your car is not charged to 100% and therefore cannot regenerate a lot of energy, you see it with a limited blue bar in the display, you should switch, if it's not charged to 100%, switch to N, so neutral, and then do a couple of brakes. And if it's charged to 100%, you will more likely have some mechanical braking when you leave your dealer, and you already have that what you need for the brakes. So in that sense of way, yes, you should be a bit careful at the first couple kilometers, but not in a classic sense of way. And that's already it for the first part of this video series. This time, just drive and have fun, and I hope you had fun driving your car. Maybe you started different, then write me in the comments. Was this video helpful for you? Did you enjoy your first ride with your new Škoda EV? Write me in the comments. Also, write me if your dealer had helped you well or not. Please discuss down there in the comment section and give me feedback. Give the video a thumbs up if the video was helpful and you liked it. And you should definitely consider to subscribe so you do not miss out any new episode of this series whenever it will be published. If you want to support me a bit further, then I'm really happy about donations that keep that channel running, that allows me to do such videos in such quality and such amount. You will find a PayPal link down in the video description, or you may just want to use the YouTube thanks. And I hope we see each other then in part 2, where we will talk about the driver assistance systems. All the systems which help you to have an even more convenient ride and to get support while driving. And I hope we see each other in that video. And until then, stay full of energy.